actually super diseases untreatable with antibiotics, but that wasn't looked at. So what we're saying is the only human feeding study ever published confirmed the fear that scientists have had for years that genes might transfer into the bacteria living inside us, but no follow-up was done to see if there was medical implications that could be a disaster.
I wonder if the gastrointestinal doctors' businesses are going through the roof right now.
I tell you they are. We've got Crohn's disease, we have irritable bowel, we have new types of stomach cancers and whatnot, or increased levels, and it's also happening with pets. So I've been getting this information, feedback from doctors at these conferences. And so they're very, very concerned. In fact, the American Academy of Environmental Medicine, which urged all doctors to prescribe non-GMO diets to everyone, specifically listed gastrointestinal disorders as linked to the animal feeding studies. In fact, the very process of genetic engineering, which is very violent, you shoot genes into a gene gun into a plate of cells, and then you clone the cells into a plant. It causes hundreds or thousands of mutations in the DNA. Hundreds or thousands of genes can change their levels of expression. Well, one scientist discovered that when he fed supposedly harmless genetically modified potatoes to rats, where the gene itself was producing a harmless insecticide, nonetheless, there was vast growth inside the intestines and intestinal walls and stomach walls, like double the size in the stomach walls. And it was not the specific gene that was inserted into the potato. It was somehow the massive damage to the plant that caused this problem. And he pointed out to me, he said, this is the same process that we used to create the potato as we used to create the soy on the market and the corn on the market and all those things. And so we may be seeing disruptions, not just because of the Bt toxin or whatever, but just because of all the unpredicted side effects that are prone in this technology that might be creating potentially precancerous cell growth, like he looked at, or possibly leaky gut. Now, leaky gut is little holes in the digestive tract. And I've been to a lot of scientific lectures and medical conferences that link that to autoimmune disease, autism, and allergies. And that's what's on the rise. And if we feed like Bt corn to children where they don't have a very well intact digestive system and whatnot, and if it does create little holes in the digestive tract, it might be related to some of the rise of these problems. Now, this is all speculation, but there's a lot of lines of converging evidence. I'm not going to say we have a smoking gun.
There was just a story about acquired about ADHD.
Yeah, with the organophosphate.
Exactly, and pesticides.
Yeah, they find that they look at the physiologies of children, and those with higher levels of these pesticides have higher levels of ADHD. And the thing is, we've seen, DDT related to premature births. We're seeing another lindane associated with certain type of thyroid disease. It turns out the poisons that we're putting on our soil and on our food are affecting us. And these poisons came from the nerve gas industry in World War II. They're designed to be toxic, and they're unneeded. Well, now we're creating plants that require them, but they're unneeded if you grow properly. And we're seeing the symptoms now in our very desperate youth that have all sorts of problems.
All right, let's keep walking through the supermarket here. So, as far as the corn, you're saying don't buy the corn on the cob or anything, or how do you know? Will it say organic?
Well, organic corn will be. They don't plant GM corn seeds. There still could be pollination.
I don't think other than going to these natural stores, if you go into a general supermarket, Jeffrey, I don't think I've ever seen a sign that says this corn is organic.
Well, I don't eat regular corn on the cob for sure, unless it says organic or non-GMO. And I buy from a local corn, stall or a car that's parked in the.
Well, how do you know though? How do you know it's not the Bt seeds he was using?
Well, I ask him which seeds. He'll know which seeds, and if I trust him, and I won't.
Well, that's the thing. You got to trust the guy.
Yeah, it's interesting. There was a rigged research that was published where someone claimed that when people had a choice going to a farm store, they bought more GM corn than non-GM corn. But what happened was he didn't say in the published study that he put a big sign over the non-GM corn and said, "Would you eat wormy non-GM corn?" He decided to leave that out of the study, thinking it wasn't going to affect the consumer attitude.
Okay. Well, meanwhile, through the store, look for organic meats if you can. Right.
Right. Yep.
Do that. Now, I don't drink milk anymore. Haven't in years. What about the little box of soy milk? What do you think?
Well, the boxes of soy milk will say on them, made non-GMO soy or organic soy.
Or organic, okay.
And you're going to be wanting to look for the non-GMO project seal soon, because they'll probably now be migrating to that more robust claim. But still, you still want to check, because there may be some smaller soy brands that don't have that. A lot of the soy milks will have non-GMO soy in them. But I found one of those milk containers, I don't know if it was almond milk or something, that had canola oil in it. So you want to read the ingredients and don't just assume that it's safe.
I have sworn off pastas, so let's keep walking into the oil section. Let's pick up olive oil. What do you think?
Olive oil, very interesting. Olive oil is like the savior of those of us who go out to eat, and I travel 170 days a year, and so I eat out a lot. And I ask the waitress or the waiter, what oil do you cook in? And if they say vegetable oil, I know it's genetically engineered because it's soy, corn, cotton, or canola. And I say, do you have olive oil? And then I always ask, is it pure olive oil or is it cut? Because a lot of times they put canola oil in and sometimes soybean oil. Now, the sad news is that, this is an interesting statistic, the amount of olive oil consumed in the world exceeds the amount of olive oil produced. Now, what does that mean?
What does that mean? That means we're eating something that we shouldn't.
Yeah, they sometimes cut the olive oil with a non-olive oil, which is unfortunate. But if it comes out of Europe, it's probably not genetically engineered because they don't use genetically modified soybean.
What the mob used to do during Prohibition, Jeffrey. They would get their booze and then they'd cut it with water and pour it back into other bottles and sell it, and they'd get more, but it'd be watered down. But that's what they did.
Yeah, and the thing is, unfortunately, some olive oil is like that. So I don't have any idea which brands are safe, but I do. You got to eat something.
Yeah.
And so olive oil.
Just got to be careful. All right. What about the snacks? Can you get stuck eating some kind of GM snacks by mistake?
All right. I'm
potato
on
chips and stuff like that.
non-GMOshoppingguide.com, and I'm going to look at snacks. Okay.
All right.
So I've got baked goods, I've got candies, I've got condiments, oils. So let's snack food. Let's look at snacks. They're all by categories. Okay. So the may contain GMO ingredients column has things like Frito-Lay, Hostess products, Keebler, Kraft, Pepperidge Farm, Pringles, and Quaker Oats. The non-GMO side has things like Annie's, Barbara's, Burritos, Earthly Treats, EcoPlanet, Eden, Field Day, Funky Monkey, etc. A whole long list. Nature's Path, Kettle Brands, Revolution Foods, Sunridge Farms, Woodstock Farms. These are ones that either they're organic or they're specifically non-GMO. Now, if you pick up a snack and you don't know because it's not on this list, but you look at some of the ingredients, you can go over to the section of the shopping guide that's the invisible ingredients. And the invisible ingredients lists products like citric acid or corn flour or dextrin or dextrose, which either are always derived by a GM or sometimes derived. So it's a bit of a gamble if you see one of these and you don't know whether it is or not. But that'll help you with the shopping guide. Look and see, well, if it's got lecithin, it's probably soybean lecithin, and so it's genetically engineered unless it says non-GMO.
What about the cereal for your kids? With all the the big companies out there.
Well, cereal, the big companies, they're generally on the may contain GM ingredients like General Mills, Kellogg, Post, and Quaker, and you'll find that the ones that you buy in natural food stores will be the non-GMO ones.
Unless they put it on their box, and they don't, do they?
No.
They don't put on non-GMO.
No, the General Mills, Kellogg, Post, and Quaker will generally not.
They will after this show.
Yeah, hopefully. See, the thing is, I think they're going to switch soon because especially parents are getting instructions from doctors now who are saying don't let your kids eat genetically modified corn flakes and things like that. So when Kellogg's realizes that doctors are telling parents to avoid the corn flakes, they're going to rush away. Like it's happened in Europe, within a single week, virtually every major food company committed to stop using GM ingredients when it became a liability.
What was the whole reason for going in this direction? Was it money? Was it to produce more crops? What was it?
Well, obviously, Monsanto and these other 4 biotech companies control the food supply
of the world.
Yeah, in the areas in the crops that are already genetically engineered.
Right.
And one of the big reasons was Monsanto's patent on Roundup herbicide was expiring in the year 2000, so they created Roundup-ready crops, when you're a farmer and you buy Roundup-ready crops, you sign a contract saying you'll only buy Monsanto's version of that particular herbicide.
That's right.
So it was a de facto way of extending their control and dominance in herbicide sales.
Haven't farmers been sued if the wind blows a Bt pesticide crop into their fields and they haven't signed a contract?
Oh, tons of them. In fact, by 2007, Monsanto had filed 112 lawsuits against U.S. farmers, involving 372 farmers and 49 small agricultural businesses in 27 states. They won more than $21.5 million in judgments. They investigate about 500 farmers a year, and it's been hundreds of millions that they've received in settlements.
And most of these farmers can't afford even an attorney to defend themselves.
Even if they have never planted a GMO in their lives. And I've talked to farmers like Percy Schmeisser, who was simply contaminated by wind-blown canola seeds from passing trucks and nearby farms, and Monsanto sued him and won in the Canadian Supreme Court because it was their intellectual property growing on his farm and being replanted. It violated the law.
Jeffrey, stay with us. We're going to take phone calls next hour with you. Very informative and pretty darn scaring, to tell you the truth. Jeffrey Smith, author of Genetic Roulette and also Seeds of Deception, all his websites linked up at coasttocoastam.com. The two big ones, nongmoshoppingguide.com and responsibletechnology.org. We'll be back.
The After Dark Magazine, the official...
With Jeffrey Smith. Not a bad idea, then, to walk through the supermarket with the guide, right?
Absolutely. We actually sell non-GMO shopping guides just above cost at our site, which fit into pockets, and we actually sell them at a minimum of 25, so because this is designed to create a tipping point. And anytime I give away a shopping guide to a friend, they always say, can I get some more for my family, for my friends, etc.? It's a very popular item. And we also have an iPhone application called Shop No GMO, where you can actually select favorites. And you can build a little shopping list for yourself. So it's free at the iTunes store, and that's all. The information is also available at the website at nongmoshoppingguide.com. Now, you mentioned the milk aisle. You don't drink milk, but some people do, and I wanted to point out something, that when Monsanto was still owning the bovine growth hormone, they tried to get the federal government to make it illegal to put claims on milk cartons saying free from RBGH, or bovine growth hormone. And the FTC and FDA, in a rare show of independence, turned down Monsanto. So Monsanto started going after state governments. And now the governor of Ohio introduced and passed a law that requires so much verbiage and disclaimer and large font size on any package that claims that it's GMO-free, that national brands that are selling in Ohio are threatening to remove the RBGH-free label altogether, setting us back years. And so we have on our website at responsibletechnology.org, in the upper right-hand corner, we have an action alert where you can